Hey, family. Have you ever experienced when someone told other people things about you that weren't true? If you've had that experience, depending upon how it happened, you watch people's attitude toward you change. May have been okay with them at first, but then they start looking at you with suspicion or dislike and even hatred. Well, gossip and bad news spreads like wildfire, and when it's about you, it burns and it hurts. Yet, if you win someone's trust in this storm of lies and they hear your heart and realize that what they believed about you was a lie, you've won a good friend, you've won a confidant and an advocate. My name is Patsy White, and I'm introducing a new series called God, How Do I Let You Love Me? Which we'll spend the next 6 days going over. I want to propose to you that much like we have experienced people believing things about us that aren't true, that also is true of God. There are many beliefs, many things that people have been taught about God through the ages that really either they're not true or they're partially true or they're the truth with an incorrect emphasis, which almost skewers the truth like it's a lie. I'm going to be God's advocate over the next 6 days to tell you the truth of what my experience has been and how I've begun to understand who He is. And that's been part of my growth. So I wanted to first say personally that when I was a young person, I started out almost like an atheist. I didn't grow up understanding anything about God except that he killed people when he got tired of them. That was what I understood. And I had an amazing encounter when I was 19 years old that changed my life. And then I had another one at 26. When I was 28 years old, I received the Lord as my Savior. And I began to see that everything I thought I understood about God was either incomplete or distorted. It cast a shadow, on God's goodness, and that made me fear him and wonder if he really did want the best for me. Did the Bible really apply to me or what just in part? Or was God going to heal me like he'd heal others? And is he really not a respecter of persons, meaning, he applies everything to everybody? For me, it felt like, he was punishing me more than anybody else and that my life was harder than other people's. So, my goal in this series is to inspire you to explore any place in your heart or mind that may be closed to God. And you may find no place. You might say, hey, I live under an open heaven. Well, I believe that if that is true, then there should be revival happening around you. And if revival is happening around you, please tell us about it. I want to know and I'd love to see it. So my goal, seriously though, in this series is that I want to help us open our hearts and our eyes of understanding even more about the relationship that God desires to have with us. There are two parts of this series. The first three parts are about God, God's nature, will, and power. The second two are about us, our design, our will, and our purpose. And the last one is about intimacy and how we do that. So this is Oh, I was going to say something. Since the last one is actually about the intimacy part, you might feel tempted to say, well, I'll just skip to the end. Well, I want to encourage you to watch each one of these because the journey to your heart is not head knowledge. And how we learn and grow is as much about context as it is about content. So I encourage you to listen to each one. The next lesson will be how do I make sense of the Bible? And then it goes on from there. But what I encourage you to do is, as you're listening to this series, to grab a notebook, have a notepad handy so you can write things down that you notice as you're listening. Use the pause button so you don't miss anything if there's something you want to capture. And what kind of things would you write? Write what captures your attention. Um, Write what kind of gets on your nerves a little bit. Especially write down somebody who you think really needs to hear this, perhaps more than you. Write down anything that even seems like it's offensive to you or that gets on your nerves. Whatever, or yet you're arguing in your head, what it is, take a note of it and write it down. And the reason why is because this is going to be your prayer list. So I want to encourage you to know that this series, they're ranging in between 8 to 10 minutes. So you may feel like that's too long to listen. But I want to encourage you that the journey to your heart is the most valuable journey you can take. You know, your heart is the field in which your future is planted. Your heart is the soil which brings a harvest or not. Your heart, if it's unreceptive, means that your labor will mostly be in vain. So it means your crop won't grow and your hope will be deferred. So I encourage you to listen to everything, venture with me into this series. And I sure hope that God, how do I let you love me, will minister to you. Thanks so much, and I'll see you tomorrow.